Elder Bishop is a great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. We got a GMS Mississippi camp. All right, I'm going to give the floor over to Priest Abaya.
All right, Con, yeah. So today's topic is actually going into the Notebook and spiritual dementia. Now, you've seen that movie, The Notebook. It's actually about a love story, okay, about this aged couple, all right. And as the wife or the female got old, what happened? She got dementia. So every day, her husband would go into the nursing home and read this notebook. Now, what was contained in the notebook was their love story. So he was reading this notebook to her every day to assist her with getting her memory back. Now, towards the end of the movie, what happened? She did get her memory back. I'm gonna leave it at that. So this lesson is actually symbolic for us, all right? Because according to Jeremiah 6:2, you know, we are the woman of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, okay? Be Jeremiah 6:2.
Jeremiah 6:2.
Right.
I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
Right, the daughter of Zion is also known as what? The nation of Israel. Symbolic talk. So we are likened, all right? We are just like a beautiful woman to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Again, we get met, all right? Now, the notebook is what? For this lesson, symbolic for the Holy Scriptures. Somebody get Revelation 10:8, okay?
Revelation 8.
Yeah, Revelation 10.
All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 10, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, saying, Go and take the little book."
Take the little book. What's the little book? The Holy Scriptures. The notebook. That spiritual notebook. All right, so the Most High utilized the Scriptures, our notebook, to do what? To get us out of that demented state. Okay, go ahead, brother.
And it says, and he said, so like he said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth.
Mm-hmm. That's it. So, key point, that little book. My brother get dementia.
This is dementia from Edmund Online. It says extremely low condition of mental function.
Right, extremely low condition of a mental function. All right, now when you go into that origin of dementia, it means to be away from your mind. All right, from a spiritual standpoint, the Most High gave us that spiritual dementia. Why? Because we went off. All right, and we needed this notebook, all right, in order to remember ourselves. Okay?
Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, should discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee.
Us as a nation, even the prophets. So we had to disconnect from what? Our heritage. All right, go ahead.
That will cause thee to serve the enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
And this is a form of what? Spiritual dementia. Okay, now since you said that, something else. Get your well to 21.
This book of Joel 2, verse 21. It says, Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice.
No, it's like my bad. Jeremiah 2. So,
It's Jeremiah 2:21.
right.
And it says, Yet I have planted thee a noble vine.
So our entire nation was planted to be the righteous. All right, but at this time frame, only elect. Go ahead.
Holy a right seed.
Holy a right seed. Go ahead.
How then art thou turned to the degenerate plant?
Degenerate plant. All right. What happened? We received what? That spiritual dementia. The Most High gave us a diagnosis of spiritual dementia. Okay. Now, when you go into that term degenerate, according to the etymon, it also means to be away from your birth. All right, to fall from your ancestral lineage, as well as to be unlike one's race or kind. Now, the Most High program was, all right, to be what? Kings and priests and things of that nature. But we had to be humble, all right? We had to understand the left hand and we had to understand the right hand in order to be that complete judge. And we had to go through this concept of spiritual dementia in order to do so. All right?
book.
what y'all say?
This is Lamentations chapter 4,
You break it down.
verse 1. It says, how has the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how they are esteemed as earthen pictures, the work of the hands of the potter. You know, so the men of Israel, you know, at one time were the most valuable men on the earth, man. You know, because you think about, you know, all the things that we brought, you know, to the earth. You know, even going back, you know, to Adam, the sons of God, he named all the animals. There was, you know, order. You know, even going back to Abraham, what they call them, the shepherd kings. You know, they pretty much brought, you know, agriculture, you know, to these different dynasties, man.
Yeah, the so-called Hyksos.
Yep.
Went into Egypt.
Yeah, so they were very precious. That's a valuable thing. So the sons of Israel, the sons of God, were very valuable in the earth. But now you look at us today, you know, overall, you look at our people getting with the men, they're dim. You know, Jake can barely change the tire. You know, Jake is degenerate. You see? But that goes to what? That spiritual dimension. We were detached from that legacy of greatness, you know, through, you know, a process of prophecy, man.
I got a quick one.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee.
Break it down,
Now you go into the word heritage, all right, it ultimately goes back to the word heir. Just how an heir will inherit an estate from his father, all right, we are heirs to our laws, statutes, and commandments. So a heritage is really customs passed down from your forefathers. Going back to degenerate, deviating from the straying from the ways of your ancestors. All right, we've strayed from the laws, statutes, and commandments of our ancestors. So when we came over here to America, all right, we forgot our customs, our traditions, our laws that upheld us as a people, man.
Right.
And when I say we, I have to expound the southern and the northern kingdoms.
That's right, bro.
Because the northern kingdom came over here to keep the laws, but they degenerated.
That's right.
They degenerated from the laws of the Most High too.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they weren't like that during the time of King Solomon.
Yep.
That's right.
You know.
That's right.
But just to lamb back, us discontinuing from our heritage, like the Zaquan was going into, it's not just us discontinuing from the land. Because you know, No Class Malone said that, you know, basically the heritage just talking about
African Heritage Parade, a Puerto Rican Heritage Parade, celebrating different. They're here in America. They're not in their land. But what is it they're celebrating? Their way.
Their way.
Their way.
Yeah.
So they have the uniforms of their forefathers. You know, they'll play the music that their forefathers played, man.
you know, they all got those different banners, those flags.
Yeah, those different flags. That's what a heritage is. It's not really a land per se. It's the customs of the people, man.
That's right.
That's right.
You know?
Which goes into that term spiritual dementia.
Yeah.
Because, you know, from a spiritual standpoint, you know, we became demented away from our mind, but it was manifested within the flesh. We became Negroes, Hispanics, all right, North American Indians, all right, and we believed in everything the so-called white man gave us through the ways of his philosophies, man. We were indoctrinated. And there's more proof on how further we became separated from our heritage.
I got a cool to prove, Sam. This is Deuteronomy 6:1. It says, now these are the commandments, the statutes and judgments which the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, your power commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord Yahweh, thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command
And
thee.
if I could just add, and that's how you walk with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. When it talks about, hey, since we're on there, again, Genesis 5:24.
Enoch.
Yeah, how did Enoch walk with Yahweh Hashem Yahushua? And most importantly, how did Yahushua walk with his father Yahweh?
That's right.
Read that back, bro.
And it says that thou mightest fear the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son,
That's it.
all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
So when you do this through the process of passing on from your son to his sons, this is setting up what? Our customs, setting up our cultural.
That's your heritage.
Culture, which is our heritage, man.
Heritage goes back to inheritance. you're inheriting the customs of your ancestors.
Not only the land.
And not only the land,
Hey,
man.
bro, that's real generational wealth.
That's
your
real
belief
generational
system,
wealth.
man. Your ways, man.
That's why even amongst our brother Gad, they have elders amongst their
That's
people.
right.
And they'll tell you, man, that their elder is like a reservoir of wealth, of knowledge.
Mhm.
Just imagine thousands of years of information. That's how those gurus over there in India, they know so much about herbs.
Yeah.
They got thousands of years of information about the earth being passed down from descendant to descendant, man.
That's right.
Form of circulation.
Form of circulation, man.
Called the medicine men.
The medicine men,
Mhm.
you know?
It's true. That's one of Genesis 5.
And it's Genesis 5:24. And Enoch walked with the Most High.
And the brother Yash just gave you an example, all right, which is actually going into a mannerism of life. Your code of conduct, your code of conduct, man. Go ahead, bro.
He was not, for the Most High took him.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Bible shot real quick. Can you get 10 and 12?
Do it on 10, 12.
Yeah, get it for the brother.
Come.
you can break it down.
All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And it says, and now Israel, what doth the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai thy power require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Right. So, I mean, just laying back, and I mean, that's it. It's really self-explanatory, walking in his ways, man. And this was before the flood era, you know, because it was passed down orally, man. They even showed you that. And, you know, the documentary we had watched, you know, the Days of Noah, part 1, the flood, you know, everyone basically knew about the commandments. They had knowledge of it, you know, but the sons of God are the ones that kept it,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
But dealing with the topic about the spiritual notebook, real quick, I'm gonna get Baruch 2 and 30. Wanna get it? You get it? I get it.
Break it down.
All right.
You can break it down.
All right. Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves.
You know, and that's what we're doing today. 'Cause we are still in our land. We still in our captivity. In the land which how about shot scatter us to. So now we are remembering ourselves. We going and how we remember ourselves. Start with the apostles and elders, GMS, that taught us. You know, we didn't know nothing about nothing. But you know, it's all the spirit of Yahweh Shai that stuck with us, you know, to learn the names. They're gonna say it. We're gonna read the names.
All right. Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am Yahweh their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And they shall praise me.
If I could just add, and that's what was so credible about the notebook. That lady, all right, started to remember herself. The more her husband will read the notebook to her, and it's the same thing. Once you have been invited by the word, we start to remember ourselves more and more and more. All right, that's still hardness. What is that? That's really going into that spiritual dimension. All right, because if you're still hard, but you're hard-headed. But the reason why you're hard-headed is because you don't really know who you are prior to you being enlightened, man.
Like I make a point, priest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, it's like suffering from amnesia. You know,
Yep.
you suffer from amnesia. You know, you black out, then you wake up and you forget everything. You know, you may be in the case of us being the Lord's bride. You know, we forgot our husband's name.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
And when you got dementia or you know, Alzheimer's or amnesia, what do the doctors do to try to get that memory back? They put you in a familiar set, you know, somewhere you haven't been before, you know, to try to, you know, revamp that memory. That's why when you read the scriptures, you're really coming familiar. Like, these men act like our people. Like the men in this Bible, they act like our people. Like when they said, when Yahweh shot, oh, that's Joseph's son. You know, that's how Jacob, yeah, that's something Jacob say.
yeah.
You know?
But even when they mock you, I was shot. It's like,
Yeah, you got
it's like prophesy who slapped you.
Yeah.
I saw that being Jake.
Yeah.
You know,
So you see the characters in the Bible And you seeing like what Caiaphas say, look, if this man, if they believe on him, the Romans gonna come take away our place. And you can see T.D. Jason there, these guys that have these status, Creflo Dollar, you can see him saying that they believe on these little kids on the corner, you know, the Romans or the higher ups, the government gonna come take our place.
That's it.
You know?
And the Most High is so cold because we broke the law, statutes, and the commandments. Hey, can I get Deuteronomy? And get Deuteronomy 28 and 15, bro. Because Deuteronomy 28 and 15 wrote what? Wrote Jeremiah 17 and 4. Now, if you know anything about dementia, what happens? First and foremost, the short-term memory leaves. So how did the Most High strike us by removing us from their land? Then your long-term memory go. So as we became scattered throughout the four corners of the world, we became indoctrinated by these other nations, and we lost our fucking long-term memory, the names, all right, who we are, you know, and things of that nature. So it started with the short-term memory, and then it led into the long-term memory, spiritual dementia.
And that's why the scriptures are very repetitive too. You know, we go with a lot of stuff repetitive too. Scripture like it might say something here, but you might go check over and go say the same thing over and over.
You know why?
Very repetitive.
Because the Most High is trying to condition us, you know, reprogram us.
Yep.
That's why you do it over and over and over, because what is repetition? Like
Yeah.
Oscar Bar breakdown, father of
Yeah.
skill.
But like learn how to walk again.
Yeah.
You know, somebody learn how to walk, you gotta practice every day.
That's it.
Every day.
That's it.
It's like right, just like
You got
no, it's just like a right hand spiritual brainwashing.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? Like Esau doing the left hand side, get the people to follow his agenda.
Mhm.
So how about you try to go into us on the right hand side?
Mhm.
and then like what you going to
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
you shatter.
Control.
Yeah. Cause really like that slavery was so traumatic. Like it shattered out.
Our brain.
Yeah.
Our mind.
Trauma.
It's
Our
trauma.
mind, yeah.
And then the Most High started putting them pieces back together how he wanted to. That was like a righteous MKO.
Once I say he gonna wound us like an enemy.
Yeah.
You know, that wound go to the generational trauma.
Say, yeah, you know.
And you know, if I could just make this quick point, you know, like when you have that trauma, right? Some like dementia.
Yeah.
Sometimes you there, sometimes you not.
Mhm.
Like you can tell this to your people. Sometimes the people be like, yeah, I know we're the chosen.
Yeah.
You know, I know Jesus is black.
That's right.
But then they turn around and go to church. It's like they be in and out of it. You know what I mean? They be blacking out.
They forget about the scripture. That's the short-term memory.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just real quick, just prove this
Go ahead,
that righteous MK Ultra. This Hosea 6:1. Come and let us return unto the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai. For he have torn and he will heal us.
Ooh.
He have smitten
Hey.
and he will bind us up.
Torn, healed, smitten, and bind us up. Like the brother said, that's putting our minds back together from that emotional trauma, man.
Dry bones, man.
That fractured state.
That fractured state, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. No, because when your mind is fractured, it's like a shattered glass.
Yeah.
When you put the glass back together, you see your reflection. You know?
And see, through MK Ultra, that's how Esau programs these different personalities.
Yeah.
You know, he breaks your mind, and then he programmed that piece to act like this. He programmed that piece to act like that.
Okay, nigga
That's why
culture.
you have what? That split personality.
Yeah, them alter
The
egos. and
alter
shit.
egos.
And he had some trigger words too.
That's right, bro.
Like,
I'll get you on that. That was something that you
this Isaiah 3:8, and it says, "For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen."
You
Because
want to break it down, jump in.
you know, as it says in Jeremiah 50, the children of Judah, children of Israel should, suffer oppression together. You know what I'm saying? Link it up with biblical prophecies. You think about, I did a video a while back on my health channel. It was going to like the health benefits of music, and they were showing like people who had Alzheimer's and how it was a doctor pretty much he was promoting about playing violins into the hospital, and that's how the Most High did us through the Spirit, man. We started hearing that beautiful music, you know, this new song going to this truth, and the more you start hearing that beautiful song, the more you start coming to more remembrance.
It's spiritual too, because Esau knew when he fractured our minds and when he broke us as a people, you know, he did a similar thing, but to throw us off, you know, with the the rap music, you know, gangster rap in particular, you know, putting out certain wicked vibrations. Recently, the other brother Yashwamba, he had did a vid showing how Thug and Diva basically go back to, you know, Hindu culture, you know, certain Eastern cultures, and that's the vibe they put on Jake, you know. But what the Lord did with us with the new song, he got us out of it.
That's right, man.
Who came up with that fucking Thug shit? The Father of black
Pop.
culture, Tupac.
which was going back to that definition, that word in was it the book of Isaiah,
What's that?
like how they have cast nets in front of
That's
us.
right. Oh,
But if you go into the word nets, it was leaders set up for you to fall.
that's it.
You know, and Tupac is one of those nets.
Yeah, and the music is a big part of it.
Yep.
You know, because a point we had made a while back, that one movie, Lords of Salem,
Mm-hmm.
how they was playing that demonic music and, you know, caused all the women to act crazy.
Every time they play this particular song, all the women of Salem would be enchanted. They'd be under a spell.
And where did they get this concept from? When King Saul, it's like when King David utilized the harp to remove that evil spirit from Saul.
Mm-hmm.
Now Esau is witty enough to understand that, okay, now if music can take demons off people, then it can place demons on people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why this music is so demonic and perverted.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this for you,
All right,
and
go ahead.
I got something else too. All right, back in Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30 again. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. Well, I'm gonna just read this. I'm gonna get definition.
Go ahead.
All right, this is 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Now, for that word stir up, those words stir up.
1326.
All right, now it means to wake up, awaken, arouse from sleep.
Out of that spiritual dementia state. Remember, dementia means to be away from your mind. So once you wake back up, what? You're back in that right mindset. Go ahead, brother.
Isaiah 52:1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful
What's
garments.
the strength? What's the beautiful garments? It's holy truth. All right, it's white. Go ahead.
O Jerusalem, the holy city.
Which also are these dumb dogs, which is also nothing but symbolic talk for purity.
Yep, the holy city from henceforth that should no more come into thee uncircumcised and unclean.
That's right, but it starts with the process of what being born again. And the reason why the notebook is open, why? Revelation 5.
It says awake, awake. It say it twice. The urgency.
Yeah.
You know.
Because the sentence, the Most High sent us to a penal colony. He sent all 12 tribes to a penal colony. A penal colony is where a group of people go serve out a prison sentence. But now that he's about to free you, he's about to destroy that penal colony. So that's why it's like awake, awake, remember who you are. But like that first Egypt, now you got to leave in haste. In the spirit, you have to leave.
And when you say awake, awake, like the brother Yasha said, you're waking somebody, you're like, awake, awake.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't like that, awake.
You ain't wake up.
Wait, no, it's a sense of urgency.
Yeah, you see, you agitate.
Yeah. Get that revelation by my phone.
And it's Revelation 5:5.
Agitate.
And one of the elders said to me, weep not, behold, the line of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, had prevailed to open the book, to loose the seven seals thereof.
It's the book again. It's no book. All right. And the reason why, because Yahweh Shai, became that beautiful ultimate sacrifice. And guess what? And then this protocol, the scriptures was open. All right. And then because of the scriptures being open, what happened? The spiritual dementia left because we were able to remember ourselves. We're going back into what you just brought up. Awake, awake. But it started with this concept. Yahweh Shai had to do his duty. And therefore, the Holy Spirit was actually released from the spiritual world. Okay?
That's why that movie, Lion King, was so, what's the name? Rafiki. What's the name? Yeah. Yeah, he hit him in the head. You know, he had to wake your ass up. What's wrong with you?
So let me ask you a question. You hear me? Any dust come on? Well, it didn't, because once you hit somebody, you come out that confused state. Confusion is the dust. All right, the dust is what? Spiritual dimension.
And that staff represents the scriptures.
Yeah.
Thy rod and thy staff shall comfort
Yeah.
me.
Dang.
Like,
It said, and look what symbol was it. He was amongst the beasts in the wild.
He was a Gentile. He turned to a Gentile.
A wild olive branch.
That's right. That's right.
And then what was the way of the heathen with
oh yeah, eating all the unclean food.
Hakuna Matata. It means no word.
Yeah.
That YOLO spirit.
Do what thou wilt.
Do thy will.
Yep. And then, because what did King David said, I was like a beast before thee.
That's right. That's right.
So,
That's right.
It said back to Isaiah 52:2, it said, shake thyself from the dust.
Mhm.
Unto that state of confusion.
what was
Because when you're
Mufasa?
dementia, oh my bad.
No, I was gonna say Mufasa said, remember who you are.
Yeah.
His father.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because you got to think about it. When you're actually spiritual demented, you're confused. You know, you don't know who you are. You don't remember nothing. You don't remember nothing from the short term. You don't remember nothing from the long term. Us being Israelites, because of this confusion, this dust. But Yahushua was that spiritual pledge that wiped our minds clean, got that dust off our mindset. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just go back in the definitions for stir up. I'm just read the rest of them. Now it says of the sea which begins to be agitated to rise. It says a metaphor to arouse the mind, stir up, render active.
Oh, can I get 1 point? You said what? Arouse the mind, right? Get 2 Peter 1:19. Boy, you can break it down. That day star, man.
And because something aroused in us that made us change our whole life, man. You know? That was like they say, it's a game changer, man. The Holy Spirit was a game changer for the elect, man. You see, it changed our whole outlook on everything, man. You got it, bro.
2 Peter 1:19.
Peter 1:19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. Whereunto ye do well that ye take heed as unto a light that shine in the dark.
And say we have a more sure word of prophecy, because now everything that's in the book is now in place. Because even back then when you had the New Testament being, scribed, all right, those epistles being wrote, all right, they didn't know about the RFID technology. They didn't know about the arrows in Jeremiah. They didn't know what that meant. You see, there was a lot of things, the Revelation 17:18, they didn't have the full breakdown, but now we got a sure word of prophecy, man. And we've been aroused in these times, man. You see?
And shining in dark places until the day dawn and the day star arise in your heart.
Now, let me check the thing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Read that last definition, bro. Okay, go back.
All right, now back in stir up for 2 Peter 3:1. All right, now the last two, it says to arouse the mind, stir up, render active.
Yeah.
To arouse the mind, stir up, render active. Read that 1:19. Yeah,
But take heed
where into something.
whereunto ye do well that ye take heed as unto a light that shine in that dark place.
The dark place is your mindset because of this spiritual dementia. The light is who? Yahushua, also known as the day star. And what does the day star do? It brings light. So Yahushua brought light to the hopeful elect. Man, this thing is real. Tell me this thing is real, man.
Hey, it's like he said, like in the beginning, let there be light.
Be like,
It's how he took it back to the beginning, man. Let there be light in darkness, man.
yep.
And guess what? When our grandmother had dementia, guess what the doctor said? They looked at her brain. It's like a room without any lights. Now Yahushua came and gave us that spiritual light, and we have been enlightened, and now we are out of that confused state of spiritual dementia. Just like that.
And going back to the movie Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the chemical Genesis, word Genesis means beginning. Caesar was locked up with the rest of the apes while they was asleep. Unleashed that chemical, it came out. That spiritual inspiration came out playing those apes. When they woke up the next morning, there was a whole different mindset.
It's spirit. Because the elder brother R1 from the Alabama camp, he was doing the vid going into the perfecting of the elect. I forget the title of the video. It was going to how, basically the Lord started us off with just the seed, which is the word, but that's our beginning, your foundation, and we're gonna be finished, when the Lord comes. But it all started with the seed.
got Malachi.
Okay, well,
Y'all don't know if I got this already. Malachi 3:16. Then they that fear Yahweh spake often one to another, and Yahweh hearkened it and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him.
a book of remembrance, the
Yeah.
notebook.
Mhm.
Who's the woman? The hopeful elect. All right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the hopeful elect, and then the 2/3, they come later in the kingdom of heaven. Only the hopeful elect will actually receive this graphic word. Point blank, period. All right, this is the only sector out of the nation of Israel that will come out of that spiritual dementia. Go ahead, bro.
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them.
So, because of this notebook, this book of remembrance, what happened? Through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Shai, we regained our short-term memory, and we regained our long-term memory.
All right, for them that fear Yahweh, and that thought upon his name.
And it goes back to Baruch chapter 2.
In the land of their captivity, see they remember themselves and think upon his name.
Think upon that name. And it shows you the name is key.
That's
You know?
it. Yep, it's a lot. I'm sorry, brother.
Now, I'm just saying the name is key because, you know, a part of us remembering ourselves is us remembering our power.
Hey, and it's not the righteous MK Ultra. It's that trigger words. You know, when the brother first broke down the word Yahweh Bashim Hawashad of me, that was my foundation. That was the beginning phase of waking up from that dementia. You know, like you go into the movie Manchurian Candidate, and they go into them certain buzzwords. But there's a righteous wake up from that spell. And it's the name of Yahweh Bashim Hawashad.
Like they show Al Roker, you know, they say the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That nigga,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That trigger word.
Yeah, the eyes all bugging out. But no, I mean, that shows you that the true understanding is coming now, because no other philosophy ever did this, man. You know, actually show our people who they really are. You know, I mean, you got guys like what's the dude, Louis Farrakhan, which he sold out a long time ago, but he said many times in certain of his speeches that we are the Israelites. But he'll tiptoe around it, man. He'll be like, well, where is it in the book? Who the people of the book? But you only gonna get it, you know, through the spirit from the prophets, man.
And you know, going back to that cover and cast that the brothers brought out, you know, there's this documentary called White Jesus, Racism in the Church of America. And it has this, you know, good and bad, but they basically broke down, like the elders were breaking down, that Esau came up with the concept of race. So part of discontinuing from our heritage was to go from identifying people by their country of origin to identify them by characteristics, physical characteristics. So the white, black, yellow, red, you know, that was a stumbling block to where we came from too.
It shows that that's part of that covering cast.
That covering cast.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah, because what's like Job 9:24, where it speaks about how Esau covers the faces of the judges. Now we know it goes to iconoclasm, you know, but also he did it in the spirit. You know, he like putting it up those other coverings over
Yep.
us. You know?
Black, white, red.
This book of Psalm 40:2. It says, he brought me up also out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he had put a new song in my mouth.
That pit go back to what this system, you know, that miry clay, really much. The end of what the 10 toe mixed with iron and miry clay. So
The
it
end
tell
of
you the time frame, the system of this beast system, that he will lift us up and put us on that rock, which is who? Yahweh
That's
Shai.
right. There you go.
And then read it again.
He brought me up also, I'm sorry, verse 1. The son of David, I waited patiently for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry.
Yeah, he finally heard the cries of the elect. You know, because you had you know, Elder Albert Biblis, they was, you know, because you had them different Jake that was into the Torah. So they were seeking Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, but see, eventually the Lord responded and gave their spirit to Elder Albert Biblis, man, to go into Yahushua. You see?
Verse 2. He brought me up also out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock.
Yeah, so the system, all right, the horrible pit, this is a horrible system.
That's right.
That's why even Elder Apostle Ariomla did a video like, you know, the longer we here, you're gonna increase in sorrow, man, because this is a horrible system, man. And we learn more and more and increasing understanding, but we still here, you know? So we in a horrible system.
Again, they Clay again, just to add on to the brother, it's also a representation for what? That debt.
Yeah.
That debt.
And they just asked, you know, to raise the debt ceiling, man. You know, go ahead.
Which lets you know that we in slavery.
That's it. That's it.
Debt slaves. It says, it set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. And he had put a new song in my mouth. Woo.
On your house shot, which established what? Our goings.
Nope.
Now, brothers go to camp, brothers do lessons, brothers research, brothers fellowship. Because why? We found on that rock of y'all shot. Now our goings is established.
Good question. So where do we get the song from?
From scripture.
The notebook.
Yep, the notebook.
That's it, bro.
Yep. That's the lyrics.
That's the hook right there.
Link that up, we all, this Revelation 14:2. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung it as with a new song before the throne.
Yep.
And before the fourth beast and the elders, and no man could learn that
And the
song.
song is new. It's just been afresh. Like Kainos. It's the same song, man. One truth, one faith, one baptism.
And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which are redeemed from the earth.
And these men have been redeemed, and therefore they are out of that spiritual dimension.
And that proves that the song isn't new because they had it since the beginning.
Amen.
You know,
What they say, Enoch prophesied of your house shot.
10,000 of the saints.
Yeah.
It's the angels.
All right, this is Ezekiel 37,
I'm gonna break this down.
4. And again, he said to me, prophesy upon these bones. And he said to them, O you dry bones, hear the word of the Most High. Verse 5.
Right, which is our people. Going back to the brothers reading Lamentations, the 4th chapter. You know how did the fine gold become dim in earthen pictures? Us being this dehydrated estate, man. You know, without the truth. You know, yeah.
Verse 5. Thus said Yahweh to these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter in you, and you should live.
Yeah, we have it now. That's the Holy Spirit. You know, and we know that this is happening because you know the same thing is written in Revelation the 11th chapter. You know, the Spirit of life from the Most High. And the only way we can receive this is by what Yahweh Shai did for us.
That's it.
That's how we have the notebook, man.
That's it.
You know, what I'm saying? Now the vision is open. You know what I'm saying?
Now we're moving with a purpose. Because someone with dementia, they can't live a profitable life. Can't trust them to do no job, carry out a task. You know, they just here, coming and going. Just like, you know, the majority of the people on earth, especially the tribes, man, they just here coming and going.
Yeah.
You know, so that breath of life, you know, that attached us back to a pure mind. Now we have a true purpose, man.
That's right. Ecclesiastes 38.
That's what Akil Pac said on the one of his interviews. He was like, "Man, black people we really just existed." It's like something like on a I guess the hierarchy of different people. It was like, well, black people we just don't have a purpose here. We just existed, you know, which really was the 12 tribes.
Yeah.
You know, it goes to show you like this is really a matrix.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 1. It says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him for the
First
Lord.
and foremost, this is actually talking about a physical position. All right, go ahead, bro.
It says, for the Lord hath created him, for of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king.
Right, so the Most High of the Most High comes what? Healing. All right, now, for this video, the Most High was what? Our physician. And who was the bomb? Yahweh Shai. All right, now, if you know anything about dementia, they have to receive ourselves. It just slows down the process. So Yahweh Shai was more than our spiritual ourselves. He was actually that healing balm. Okay, and because we received that healing balm, which is Yahweh Shai from Yahweh, we became born again and came out of this state of spiritual dementia.
Hey,
So-
We say Malachi, how shall turn, he turns face shall come to him. And his
Oh my God, you gotta get there. Look it up.
Hey, well, before we get there, I gotta
You got it.
begin the scripture for your scripture. All right, Sirach 25. Okay, come on. All right, Sirach 25 and 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart. Now, the heart is your mind.
That's right.
So that dementia, all right, us not remembering our heritage and where we came from, that was the plague of the mind.
Deuteronomy 28, you should smite thee with madness and
Yep.
blindness.
Yep.
Are we gonna be groping in noonday?
Yeah, how you gonna grow up in a noonday and it's full light outside? It's spiritual. You looking for the truth. You trying to figure out where you came from.
You dark up here.
You dark up, no light.
Yep. But
You
it's
know?
going into like if you, because Brother Quad Moff made a beautiful point. I listened to his video this morning because he was like, you know, it don't matter your physical attributes of what you have, but once your mind go, you gone.
You know?
You can be a billionaire,
Yeah.
but if your mind go, you gone. You can be a black belt jujitsu. You know, you can have all these different, you know, weaponry and all these different things, but if your mind gone, they don't mean nothing no more. So like that's why Yahweh Shema Shah, you know, said wisdom and knowledge gonna be the stability. You talking about your mind. Cause we finna see a lot of people bug out that's been prepping carnally, but they ain't been prepping in the spirit. So they gonna lose their mind, so it ain't gonna matter what they done prep. You know? Yeah, you got all these, you done prepped all this food, but you can't even remember where you stay.
Right.
You know?
Dang.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, and verse 12. But it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, which healeth all things.
Yeah, because even like, you know, you hear now what's cool amongst Jake now, what's trending now is how people get therapy. But if you don't get therapy according to this word, you're not going to be healed. Because the therapies of this society, they can only tell you external things and things of this lifetime, you know, that has you like that. But see, it's a spiritual root to our problem, man. You know?
Yeah, and we've done all the physical and economical and the mental things. It's what we hear based on a spiritual offense.
That's
Yeah.
it.
You know?
Yeah.
They can give medicine for depression or
Yeah.
Put more
things
digits
right
on
there.
there.
There you go. Take this
The
insurance.
same people continue to go back and see the same therapists. And all they do is spike up the milligrams of their medication. So,
Man, bro. Alright, I'm gonna jump 2 verses, it's gonna be it, just because it's going to our points. All right. Verse 10 and 11. But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame, for thy mercy was ever by them and healed them. Verse 11. For they were pricked, that they should remember thy words.
Going back to this system, it said the teeth of dragons, because that was going back in during the time of Egypt. You see, now we're in spiritual Egypt, and we in this beast system. We under this dragon empire, man. All right.
Mhm.
And it said, read it again.
But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame.
Not the very teeth of venomous dragons, man. The serpent.
yeah.
Yeah.
You see? Go
What do you
ahead.
look upon? That brass
Yeah,
serpent, which
yeah.
was what? Yahweh
Yeah,
Shah.
shot. Yeah. Go ahead.
For thy mercy was ever by them and healed them.
Mhm.
For they were pricked, that they should remember thy words.
Hey, they pricked so we can remember that word, man. This word pricked us. Hey, cause we were cut. We came to camp. We came to camp with a line, you know, bacon still in the refrigerator. So hey, when we heard this word, we was pricked. You see?
Yeah, bro.
When you think about that prick, it's like a cut, you know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
spiritual cut. You think about Ezekiel, the 9th chapter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That mark, you know what I'm saying, which is a sign of exemption. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
it's a spiritual engraving.
Yeah.
That's what the bullshit in America was about. That was supposed to push us to look for us like an answer. That was to push us to the Most High. You know?
I'm gonna finish it out. They'll say, but they were pricked, that they should remember thy words and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness.
Dementia, short term, long term. And once you lose that, hey, that's deep forgetfulness, man.
they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. That's it.
And it's heavy. I'm just gonna close it out with this. Sirach 10:10. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king tomorrow, and he that is today a king tomorrow shall die. With the physician being Yahushua, what is that long disease? That spiritual dementia. Hey, what we talking about? 400 years?
400, yeah.
That's a long disease. If you want to go back to 70 AD, you
That's it.
know, we're talking about what? 2,000 years down there. So a long disease, man. That plague of the heart, that dementia of not knowing where we came from. Yahushua cut off that long disease, bridging the gap between the northern and the southern kingdom. You know, going back to that stick joining together, man.
He's also known as what? The Prince of Peace.
The Prince of Peace, man.
Breaking down the middle wall of partition
Yeah.
between the tribes.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
It shows the duality because it says the physician, you know, he cut it off a long disease, you know, and then he said he that's a king today, you know, is not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Speaking of who, Esau, Edom
That's
now.
right.
Hey, because what the scripture saying in Psalms, how he will set us in order. He said he gonna reprove thee, but I'm gonna set them in order in front of your eyes, man.
I'm gonna build up a kingdom right in front of you.
Yeah.
You know? And therefore I should raise up the tabernacle of David. You know?
Hey, all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kabadash.
Double honor to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity